Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach, and today we have with us Bryan Daly, who's the founder of New Life Financial Alliance, and he's a fee-based fiduciary financial planner. Bryan, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mike. Great to be here.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to talking with you. I think we have got some aligned values and focuses, and I think the whole point is how can we as business professionals learn more, educate more, serve more, provide value to our audiences, whatever those audiences are, and really just kind of make the world a better place. And that world could be the pond that you fish in with, serving people with financial concepts. And that's what I love about what you do. So give us a little bit of your background and what your entrepreneurial journey has been like.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, first of all, for having me on. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
My background, accounting and tax, and I got into financial planning about 25 years ago, and under a simple idea that if I could show people how to legally save money on taxes and save it, invest it for themselves, I could make a living doing that. And that kind of started my journey 25 years ago.
Now, you made a really interesting statement, not just showing people how to, but you inserted the word legally. And I think that you did that on purpose, right? Because
sure.
I don't know the answer to the question because this is just all, off the cuff and we're riffing and having a conversation. But it sounds to me like maybe there's a dark side to some things out there and some horror stories. So what were you seeing at that point in your career to go, okay, enough is enough. I need to teach people to do it the right way?
Well, we want to make sure that people can sleep at night. No one likes to get that dreaded letter in the mail from the IRS on an audit. And, you want to be assured that any strategies that you do are bulletproof, so that, it stands up in an audit or under scrutiny. And especially, as income grows and deductions grow and that sort of thing, you become, of course, a larger potential target. The IRS tax code is over 70,000 pages long.
Wow.
And it's, and I say to people, now you've read it all, correct? You understand it all, right?
And understand it, yeah.
And understand it. And of course, all the recent changes, new changes, updates, new interpretations of it. So there's so many things in the tax code that so many people don't take advantage of. And they may even have CPAs, tax preparers, and so on. Those folks are generally doing the compliance work and not doing the tax planning and really looking at not only what maybe is tax deductible today, but how does that affect your entire tax strategy over the course of 10, 20, 30 years, a lifetime. Sometimes short-term tax deductions turn into long-term tax time bombs.
Okay, so that brings up a point that I think is really interesting because from the outside listening in, looking in to what you just said, it's not necessarily look at this massive thing we can do to save this massive amount of whatever, tax or money or revenue or whatever the case is. Many times it's this little tweak here, this little polish there, and over time, look at the compounding of that. It's like the example of, if an airplane went from point A to point B, but you were just 1 degree off, it wouldn't feel like you're just totally off course, but over time, you end up in Antarctica.
Absolutely. And it's absolutely the same with finances.
Yeah.
The difference between being 1 degree off course versus, and there's always that course correction, right? That constant review and course correction. Again, changes, updates, legislation, different circumstances in someone's life, the market. It's not just a beautiful plan that you put in a leather-bound case and put it in a filing cabinet and forget
check
about
the box and go done.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Updated beneficiaries and updating trusts, and so there is some maintenance to it. Not a lot, but if you neglect it, just like anything else, relationships, life, your home, anything, you can tell the difference between something that's well cared for and something that's well maintained.
Yes, 100%. Okay, so let's roll into how you work and provide value, and what do you do, and what are your views on solving the prospecting problem out there in business?
Well, I'm so glad you asked, because we are so aligned with your original statements that you made about the podcast, because I'd say probably 10, 12, 13 years ago, I found myself without anyone to call. I had gotten into the mortgage business. Year after year, I was getting deeper and deeper in the mortgage business. In 2007, 2008, found myself without a business. Nobody to call.
Oh yeah, that little thing called the economic crisis. You mean?
Yeah.
Remember?
I originally got into the mortgage business to help my clients refinance, consolidate debt, that sort of thing. And every year that went by, I got deeper and deeper in the mortgage business, and life was great. We were doing 100, 150 loans a month, and then of course the meltdown happened. We went 9 months without originating a single loan.
Oh my word! Well, let me just tell you, just as a little pin in that and pause, because I can relate. I spent 10 plus years in the mortgage industry working for JP Morgan Chase. I was in it at that time frame, and it was not just this little, plane landing slowly. The whole market crashed and went away, evaporated overnight, and trying to reinvent yourself or weather through. Wow, what a turmoil that was. So I can relate to exactly what you're saying. So you went 9 months, then what?
Well, in the process, I had a friend of mine in town I said, I'm going to return to my roots, financial planning, financial advice, going to get out of the mortgage business. But I had really no business to go to. But I had a friend of mine who ran a local networking group, said, hey, we've got a spot for a financial advisor, which are rare to come by in groups. They're usually the first spots grabbed. Yeah. And I said, great. It was breakfast every Wednesday at 7 a.m. And I said, well, let me think about it, because it's a commitment. I'll call you tomorrow, and I'll, let you know. I called the next day. He said, sorry, the spot's already been filled. Oof. So I said, okay, I'll start my own group. And at the same time, I got a connection request from a friend of mine on LinkedIn. I was so clueless, I called it Like It In. I was like, what is this Like It In thing? And I called my friend. Yeah. So I called my friend, and I said, Frank, what is this Like It In thing? He said, I don't know. It's something new. I thought it'd be great for us to have each other's contact info. I'm like, Frank, I've known you for years. I have all your contact info. Yeah. He said, I don't know. I just thought I'd send it to you. So I started digging into it a little bit more, and then realized that I could leverage LinkedIn to build my networking groups. And at first, doing my networking groups, I would have been happy to have 4 or 5 people show up for coffee once a week. Yeah. Well, because of we turbocharged the whole thing with LinkedIn, we opened Jupiter, Gardens, West Palm, North Palm, Wellington, Boynton, Boca, Delray, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville. It was just, it was an early adopter, if you will, of LinkedIn. But, I started reading some books on networking, got some real good books from Dr. Ivan Meisner, Networking Like a Pro, I highly recommend, Keith Ferrazzi, Never Eat Alone. And I basically built it with the premise that givers will always gain. And to be a giver, give value first. Bob Berg, who lives right here in Jupiter, I'm a great fan of his. Endless referrals. Yep. The Go Giver wasn't out yet. And of course, the Go Giver as well. And it has served me so well. I never worry about where my next client, my next appointment is going to come from. And the friendships and the relationships that I've made over the years are lifelong. my networking group is more an extension of my family than anything else. But it is also financially rewarded us really well, and especially during pandemic. During the pandemic, we were doing most of our meetings and things were live, and then we just exploded after COVID. Because with Zoom, we're Zooming all over the country. So, the challenge with the networking was probably 6, 8, 9 months before I got a single referral. But I knew it was coming.
Yeah,
I knew it was going to happen, and then the grapevine occurs. That's other people telling your story. Hey, Bryan did this for me. He helped me with that. He was fantastic. Et cetera. Not me saying it, other people saying it about me, and that's when the referrals start to come.
Yep. Yeah, because it's like the old saying, don't toot your own horn. Well, if other people can toot your horn for you, that's way better. That's third-party social proof. And if you try to contrive that and force that and make that happen, it doesn't work. So it's got to happen naturally. It's got to be that spirit of giving and serving and providing value. And then when that pump is primed, then it doesn't take much to continue that. So that's so cool. And what it makes me think of is this: traditional wisdom would say, market this way. Buy leads, sell, follow up until they buy or die, push, what you're going to take to get you into this financial product today and next. Well, that's conventional wisdom. Where is conventional financial wisdom broken in the industry? Because once someone goes, I need some help with my financial picture, they're normally talking to advisors going, oh, well, you need to, and then it's the same old. What are you advising your clients to do? And where are some of those kind of low-hanging fruit where people go, ooh, Bryan, that's a neat perspective. Thank you for that. Where is it that you're seeing, some unique perspectives?
Well, I'm so glad you asked that, because the conventional wisdom, the traditional wisdom is so badly broken, and it's robbing people of financial security, financial independence. Where is it broken? It's broken in the areas of mortgages, insurance, investments, debt management. All the key, I can't think of anything more key than that. And, there's most of the technology, the financial technology, a 30-year fixed rate mortgage is an 80-year-old technology. Yeah. We're still using an 80-year-old technology. The 401k is a 40-year-old technology. The list goes on. There's much better programs out there that many people are not aware of. That, there are ways in the stock market to get the upside of the market with no downside risk, and do it tax-free, and have your money liquid, accessible, and so on. And what astounds me about the financial situation in America, we live in one of the wealthiest nations in the world, yet 95% of our citizens fail financially because they're following broken financial wisdom. And most people already have what they need to create financial security. They just need to redirect the same dollars they're already spending. And
that's really huge to think about, because I think a lot of people would think, oh, to have a great retirement, I need to invest more, which means I need to dump more into the bucket. But your bucket, quote unquote, might have a few too many holes in it. Now, there's no bucket that has 0 holes. You can never plug up all the holes, whatever those holes might be. But I think what you're saying is, hey, that water flowing into your bucket, what if we kept that water level flowing in at the same amount? You don't need to worry about going getting 9 part-time jobs, but using the same thing, which you already have. Why don't we just kind of tweak this and tweak that and massage it? And all of a sudden the output is dramatically different because we're doing a little bit different things with the water in the bucket and, meaning financial products. So is that kind of like a good word picture of what you are?
Absolutely. We could slow it down to a drip, 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 and it would still fill the bucket.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'll give you a quick example. 30-year fixed rate mortgage, stated interest rate 3.5%. And you, having been in the mortgage business, know that stated interest at 3.5%, the first year you're going to pay close to 60% in interest. It's after holding it for 20 years, you're still paying 30%. 30% of your payments are going to interest.
Yeah.
Hold it for the life of the loan, it's 60%. Well,
what's statistically, here's a great point, and I don't mean to interrupt and get you off track, but this is going to make your point, I feel like. How many years statistically does the average person hold that 30-year mortgage?
5 to 7 years.
Yeah, bingo.
Before they,
So guess what they do in 5 to 7 years? They refinance or buy another house or whatever, and they get what? Oh, another 30-year mortgage, and then now it's all front-loaded with more interest, and then they do it again and again, and all of a sudden you're 65 years old with 28 years left of your mortgage. That's broken.
Yeah, totally broken. So there's much better ways to do it, and there's a new technology. Now, I say new, it's been on the market for the past 16 years, and it's a simple interest loan calculation that marries to a bank, which allows you to offset or reduce your outstanding principal. It kind of works like a home equity line of credit, in that the money that you have in checking and savings, which isn't earning anything anyway, while it's waiting to be used, offsets or reduces your outstanding principal, which means you pay it off faster. So for the same monthly payment, a 30-year mortgage is paid off typically in 9 years. Now, we take 21 years worth of mortgage payments and say $2,000 a month at 7%. That's almost $2 million difference. So paid off in 30 years or paid off in 9 years and have 30, et cetera.
I've not been in the mortgage business for over 10 years, so I'm a little rusty, but what you just described reminds me of the old biweekly mortgage payments, where if you pay every 2 weeks, literally every 2 weeks, you end up making 1 or 1.5 payments extra a year. So what you're describing is that same methodology, but maybe you have a tool or a system that makes it easy and automated to accomplish the same thing. Am I thinking correctly?
No, it's more. It's a loan that originated in the UK, big in Australia, Canada, been around for years, and it operates more like a home equity line of credit, which means you pay simple interest on the outstanding balance for the number of days that it's outstanding. Okay. So it's not, originated in arrears like a 30-year fix. Not to go too deep in the weeds, but it's different. So if you were to make extra payments to this type of loan, instead of being paid off in 9 years, maybe it's paid off in 7 or 6 years.
Wow. Okay.
I'm saying making the exact same payment.
Wow.
And having liquidity, use, and control of your money, meaning you don't have to go back to the bank and ask for a refinance to get your equity out of your property.
Okay, so that's a big aha, because I know from what I've seen in the past is, let's say that someone stays in their house for 10, 15, 20 years and they've paid down, whatever, and they've got the house, let's just say hypothetically, half paid off, and they've got a huge amount of equity there. But just because you have equity, that's on paper, you can't go to the bank and go, give it to me. You've got to then go ask the bank, may I please, and get a loan and pay closing costs and take time and paperwork. You're describing some flexibility and liquidity where it's giving you the benefit of paying it off sooner, but also the flexibility of, if you needed to reaccess it, bam, it's right there for you.
Just write out a check. Wow. And the most astounding thing about this program is started in 2005, which means they went through 7, 8, 9, the mortgage meltdown, which we referred to earlier, the financial crisis. To this day, they've done billions of dollars worth of business. Nobody's heard of it before. They've done billions of dollars worth of business, and they have not had not one single default or foreclosure on any one of these loans.
Wow.
Because if you think about it, somebody runs into a jam, right? They lose their job or fall on hard times. They don't necessarily have to even make their mortgage payment. They just roll it over to the next month's interest. And if they need money to pay the electric bill or the car bill or the food bill to get back on their feet, they just write out a check.
Whereas the traditional mortgage, if you have that tough month or two, that payment's due. And if you don't make it, uh-oh.
And doesn't matter how much interest, equity you have.
Right.
Doesn't matter how much equity you have. You still have to requalify. And if you're on hard times, you can't requalify. The more you dig into, and that's just one key broken area. the more you dig into it, the more you kind of realize how crazy and insane the conventional wisdom is in so many areas.
Mm-hmm. That's really, really amazing. I love, and so I love how I think you even said the words without getting into the weeds, because guess what? It doesn't really matter at this moment in time, the tactics or what this is or what the concept is. Wow, freedom, flexibility, safety, the benefit of, everything that you're describing here is so different than what traditionally someone would go, I need to do, put my money in a 401k. I need to get a 30-year mortgage because it's fixed rate. That's different. But yet, if there's no downside to it, like I remember back in the day, the negative amortizing loans, people loved those because it was interest only, super low interest rates, but they didn't realize that it's going backwards. Well, then when the house goes down and something happens, now they're upside down, and that was a contributing factor to the whole mess back in the day. Well, what you're describing, if there's like little to no default, that's a pretty safe loan.
Especially through one of the worst periods, if not, in our country, certainly in modern history, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like it's all fine and good to go, hey, when times are great, look at how good these numbers are. But if these results and these numbers are great in the face of catastrophe, and then of course when times get good, and during the tough times the results were good, but then during good times, then it's obvious it's going to even be better. So I really think that's like the true test, the testing of the metal. So let's do this, Bryan. What's if anything that we've been talking about here is intriguing to someone and going, you know what? Maybe there's some interest there to kind of take a creative approach to at least learning a little bit more. What's the best way that someone could reach out and connect with you?
Well, I'm on social media, LinkedIn, and I know you were going to provide the links there. I'm a big user of this social media. I'd be happy to answer questions and consult with folks, through instant messenger or what, that sort of thing as well. But it's BRYANDALY is my correct spelling, and I think it should be pretty easy to find me. I do it every Thursday night at 8:00. I do what I call my discovery call, and for 30 minutes, I basically machine gun people with the broken conventional wisdom and better options. What we just talked about was one of those that I kind of go through, and it's kind of a high level. Hey, this is kind of where the conventional wisdom is way off track. So we do that on Thursday night. I'd be happy to in fact, you know what? Let me see if I can find the link here real quick. It's
and what I also will do is I will have a link to your company website, newlifefinancialalliance.com. I will also place in here your LinkedIn, which is linkedin.com/IN/Bryan Daly, BRYANDALY. So I'll make sure that is in there as well, so that people can connect with you on that liked in platform that you were mentioning earlier.
I like it in, yeah. Cool. And it's NLFADiscoveryCall.com.
NLFADiscoveryCall.com. Awesome.
Yeah, and there's some
Bryan,
videos on there and so on. Yeah, it was boy, the time flew by, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I think we could have taken a breath here and going, okay, let's talk for another 4.5 hours. And, yeah, you're right. I mean, these are fun topics and they're really relevant. So thanks a million for coming on. It was really a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.